Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zoe Muro. And now, here's Zoe.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the New Thought Media Network. My name is Zoe Muro, and I am especially delighted and honored today to be your host for Choice, Your Creative Superpower, coming to you from Oakland, California, each Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 noon Mountain Time. What we do here is we explore how you can wield your superpower for the greatest good and co-create your most fulfilling life experience. For those of you coming back, it's great to see you here again. And if this is your first time, well, welcome and thank you for tuning in. You're here on a very special day. We'll get to that in a moment. I'm a religious science practitioner with the New Thought Media Network, as well as a transformational coach. My ministry as a practitioner and my mission as a coach are to help people live their lives to the fullest. Today's episode 47, is a celebration. We began this journey of exploring choice as a creative superpower 1 year ago. It was actually on June 20th, which is tomorrow. Happy anniversary to all of us. Now, I've been asked a number of times why choice is a topic worthy of all this scrutiny. Initially, when I described the topic of choice, I said it was fascinating and had an import and an impact on life for you, for me, for all of us, which can literally be of heroic proportions. And now, 1 year later, I most certainly stand by that description. To quote the brilliant educator, author, and speaker Stephen Covey, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. Or as the author John C. Maxwell put it, life is a matter of choices. And every choice you make makes you. And of course, there's the phrase, change your thinking, change your life, which appears as a best-selling book title in and of its own. And it's also the basis of a number of other book titles, as well as being a philosophy, an invitation, and as well, in fact, it's a way of life. Now, many authors and spiritual leaders have expressed how changing your thinking can promote a more effective way to address difficult circumstances, to cultivate peace and prosperity, and to enable you to create the life you want to live through the power of your mind. Just want to see what's going on here. Oh, hello, Fiona. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Fiona is one of the practitioners here on the New Thought Media Network, and she is an absolute powerhouse. Magnificent. So good to have her. Let me see. Oh, should put that up. There we go. Now, there is a great book written by Dr. Tom Rusk, which I highly recommend. It's titled Get Out of Your Own Way, and the subtitle is Escape from Mind Traps. What I love about this book is that the author pulls absolutely no punches in laying out the many and diverse ways that our thinking affects our lives. And then there's another book called Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. In this book, the author gives us an array of factors that affect our choices. And oftentimes, and this is really important, without our conscious awareness of them. A different approach, but one which also highlights how our choices affect our lives. Well, that's presented in the book, The Paradox of Choice: Why More is Less, by Barry Schwartz. In this book, he addresses what he refers to as, I love this phrase, the tyranny of choice. He argues that the sheer volume of choices we have can result in significant stress and therefore a very disturbing and dissatisfying life, unless you become aware and attentive to what is truly relevant and important. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this next book, which is based on the writings of Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, Religious Science. This has commentary by Willis Kinnear. This is titled Thoughts Are Things. In fact, I want to share a very revealing excerpt with you. This is what he had to say. Some individuals, in spite of the pressures and vicissitudes of the world around them, are able to master them and literally become masters of their own lives. Others seem to let life overwhelm them, seem to be lost and helpless as a small rudderless craft in a storm-swept sea. The difference can be traced to a way of thinking. The difference can be traced to a way of thinking. Hello, Shay. Good to see you. Shay is also on the New Thought Media Network and is going to have a wonderful show coming up very soon. So let's see, where am I? Okay. So our thoughts, and by extension, our choices, are seen by many philosophers, by authors, by mystics, by spiritual leaders from very diverse backgrounds and perspectives as being of tremendous import in our lives. I want to illustrate the breadth and depth of the ways that choice is a part of life. And to do so, we're just going to take a look at the list of topics that we have covered so far in our weekly explorations on this show. Check this out. All right. This is in alphabetic order, not in the order in which I actually presented these. That is a pretty extensive list. All of these things, all of them, affect how we view our choices. All of these affect whether or not we even see that we have choices, and all of these are affected by the choices that we make. Okay. And we have much more to go yet. You know, some of the topics were so extensive, they even needed multiple episodes. I've been leading a weekly discussion group, which allows us to explore the topics in even greater depth. So I'm kind of curious, would you be interested in participating in discussions around these topics? The reason I ask is that I'm contemplating building in a format which will present the topic one week and then open it to discussion the following week. But to do that, I need people who want to be able to come on and discuss. All right. Now, you don't have to actually be on camera. We can discuss this through the chat. If you'd be interested in doing that, drop me an email. Okay. Email would go here, zodimuro@gmail.com, and let me know what you think. Oh, thank you, Shay. Okay, so let's see. Now I know Shay would definitely love to discuss. Excellent. There's one. Okay, so let me see. I want to take this out of here and that out of there. There we go. All right. So, as I noted earlier, there are times that we make choices that are conscious, and at other times, choices that we make unconsciously. The point is, whether we are aware of it or not, we are constantly making choices. Even the choice to not make a choice, that is a choice. So I prefer to use a slightly different term, and I refer to choice points. That is to say, points at which a choice could take place, either explicitly or implicitly, or more precisely, consciously or subconsciously. Your ability to detect these choice points is affected by a huge variety of factors. And what's even more important, your ability to detect choice points affects your life experience in profound ways. So, being able to see choice points and make effective use of them can be the difference between merely surviving in this world or perhaps even doing well. But we can go all the way to thriving. Remember, we're always looking for our greatest good. And whatever it is that you think is your greatest good, know that there is so much more. Now, as you can tell from the list of topics that we've already covered in this past year's episodes, there are indeed many factors that affect our choices, and understanding those factors can enhance one's ability to choose when it is appropriate to do so and to choose effectively. My favorite quote from Voltaire: God gave us the gift of life. It is up to us to give ourselves the gift of living well. When I first conceived of this show, I wanted to be really clear about one very important point. I'm not here to teach, nor am I here to provide answers. No, I want people to think for themselves. I want them to explore each topic, to question what they believe they know, and to understand how they came to believe what they hold to be true about themselves, about others, about life. One of the most satisfying responses to one of my episodes is always, I hadn't thought of it that way. As well as, and sometimes even more so, I hadn't thought about it at all before now. What has come about for me personally as I produce each of these episodes is that the topic works me as well. There hasn't been a single week where I haven't gained greater understanding and found more questions for myself through exploration, questioning, discerning, really digging deep. One of my goals doing this show was to bring new thought sensibilities to a wider audience. And I've been able to do that based on the conversations that I've had with folks and the emails I've received. The show has been a great way for me to introduce new thought to a wider audience and to open up discussions which might not have occurred before. Hopefully, I'm not going to lose my voice here. Some of the topics that I chose came directly from my own experience. For example, abuse, addiction, aging, grief and loss, love and loving, purpose, relationships, parenting, while others were suggested to me by clients and followers of the show. The remainder came from a desire to understand the dynamics of choice and what enhances or inhibits a fulfilling life. One thing that has resonated with everyone, though, was the idea that we are constantly making choices all day, every day. It's virtually impossible, unless you're literally unconscious, to not make choices. So as much as I tout choice as a superpower, it's important to recognize that with great power comes great responsibility. And yes, I did just quote Stan Lee, the creator of the Spider-Man comic books and many others. But hey, this is New Thought. We make use of all sorts of valuable literature and texts. I don't know how many people would agree with me that, Spider-Man comics are important, valuable literature and text, but it got the point. When I was first studying science of mind, which is, of course, a branch of New Thought, I remember when I heard that thoughts are things and we can have, that we do have a profound influence on our life based on our thoughts. I think I was almost afraid to think at that point. What if I think the wrong thing? Well, personally, I believe you can't think a wrong thing. You might think something that's not helpful. It might not be productive. Sure, absolutely. But the reality is, regardless of what we think, we have an opportunity to reject or reinforce that line of thought. Likewise, we may judge our choices to be good choices or bad choices. Matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet that most of us do that on a regular basis. What do we decide? How do we figure out which is good, which is bad? Well, we usually base it on the outcome. If it was what we expected, it was good. If it wasn't what we expected, it was bad. Or the outcome was exactly what we thought, and we didn't like the way it affected our life, so it was a bad choice. Or it didn't turn out as expected, and it had a wonderful effect on our life. That made it a good choice. I see choice as not simply something that you learn to do correctly and then you're golden, but as a process, a practice. Okay. Every choice that I have made in my life has moved me in some way, shape, or form. It has either provided a benefit or it has provided a lesson. It would really be wonderful if choice was simply an equation, an act of uncompromised logic. Maybe it would be something like this. The sum of t plus n multiplied by a divided by f plus d equals c, where thoughts and needs times attention divided by fears and doubts equals choice, or something like that. Well, it doesn't work that way. It's really not that simple at all. But choice is a science and an art. So our ability to recognize these choice points, to act or react, to follow through or stop, all of this is dynamic because we as individuals are dynamic. We choose based on what we know or what we believe we know, what we value, what we desire, what we need, what we prioritize, based on our past experience and on. But all of these can be subjective and ever-changing, even for one given individual. Think about it. What felt right 20 years ago, 20 days ago, maybe even 20 minutes ago, could easily have changed. Ernest Holmes has this magnificent book called How to Change Your Life. And I want to bring this up here. This is good stuff. Okay. In this book, he wrote, the old Greek adage, know thyself, is profoundly significant. In fact, we must know ourselves more fully if we are to lead the successful, happy, and useful lives we desire. if we are to lead the successful, happy, and useful lives we desire. Here's another one. If you've seen this show before, you probably know that one of my favorite books is Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. So in the chapter, The Almighty Decision, Jen writes this. So often we pretend we've made a decision when what we've really done is signed up to try until it gets too uncomfortable. How many choices have you made like that? So, as important as choice might be, our ability to choose well is one thing, but to remain steadfast in our choice, that makes all the difference in the world. Let's look at this from the metaphysical perspective. We are creators, but we are also co-creators. Given that each of us is a creation of one loving spirit, we do nothing alone. We're never removed from the wisdom, from the grace, and from the intelligence of the one. But we can forget that. We can ignore it. We have free will. We can allow circumstance or condition to cloud our judgment. Be aware, though, these are choices as well. There's a quote I found from an explorer and mountain climber by the name of William H. Murray. And he put it this way. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to pull back. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. Yeah, so remember I said we are not alone? That we have the grace and the love and the wisdom and the compassion and all of that goodness from the one. Well, that is providence. That is providence. So, here we are, a year later from when I started this journey. I actually had no idea how involved this was going to become. I had no idea how many people it would affect. I had no idea how many people would be so enthused to learn more about themselves. And you know, as a practitioner and as a transformational coach, I don't do the digging for people. I hold the light while they do the digging, because the answers are always within. Well, since this is our anniversary episode, I want to take a moment to thank a few people before I lose my voice entirely. I joined the New Thought Media Network because of my prayer partner, my friend and practitioner, Bonnie Gonzalez. Bonnie is the host of a show on the network called Your Doula for Grief. She encouraged me to speak up and speak out. She said, you have a perspective that needs to be heard. I am glad that I listened to her advice, and I'm glad that I proposed this show to the network. And I truly appreciate all of the practitioners, the ministers, and the show hosts, and the producers who have supported me and encouraged me, especially most especially Reverend Robert Brzezinski, the founder of the New Thought Media Network. You know, he created this network first as just prayers, right? As you know, we do prayers twice a day at 7:15 a.m. and p.m. Pacific time, which is 8:15 a.m. and p.m. Mountain time. That's where we started. But we now have over 40 hours of programming every week because of the brilliance, because of the initiative of this man. So huge thanks, Reverend Robert, for creating this incredible platform. And thank you for having trust in me and allowing me to host this show. And last, but by no means least, I am grateful for all of you folks who watch the show each week. You contribute your thoughts and your ideas. And the most fabulous part of it all, those aha moments. That's magnificent. And with that, I knew I wanted to end this celebration with just the right sentiment. And I believe I found it. You can choose to live in the front row or the third row. That is your choice. But folks, if you take that third row, what are you missing out on? Go for the front row. It is your choice, though. Before you go, I want to highlight what's coming up on the New Thought Media Network today. At 1 p.m. Mountain Time, Finding the Joy in the Journey with the exceptional Reverend Gina Calvario-Krupka and her special guest, Kenny Bovell. I should also mention Reverend Gina is one of my mentors. She has helped me tremendously here on the New Thought Media Network, and I am eternally grateful for all that she has done. Likewise, I'm eternally grateful for Fiona, magnificent practitioner, and she is just an absolute treasure here on the New Thought Media Network. She does so much. Okay, let me see, where was I? Oh yeah, talking about today at 2:00 Mountain Time. That's 1:00 Pacific time. The Vibrant Living Hour with the very vibrant practitioner, Ken Ludwig. So folks, until we meet again, choose well, live well. Much love and many, many blessings. Namaste.
Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zo Muro.